Okay, Alan Redhouse, who lives and works in Languedoc for many years, is going to tell you about the area.
Hello. As they said, I'm Alan. I, like a lot of people, I bought my holiday house down there 15 years ago now, nearly. Nobody spoke any English. Like to see any French, so we got the sort of interesting experience trying to get a French satellite system to work, some of the skylocks and the rest of it to learn French. Anyway, time moves on. I decided, I've been writing in the UK for 25 years, I decided I need something else to retire. So in 2008 I did lots of university degrees, and in 2000 I think that's enough, back in the business again. So I had the opportunity to take over this agency, Sector 21, Quillan, Limoux. So I've lived there, I know it quite well. I've been through all the pains of moving, starting and running the business. So I'm prepared to talk about that in questions if you wish. But really what I was going to talk to you about is what we do where we live. I'm going to just run through, to start with, just a quick recap of some of the stuff you've seen today, which is not major, on the basic decisions you need to think about before coming to talk to us or anyone else like us about buying a property in France. And then the second most important thing, and the reason why most of you are going there anyway, is the climate. And the climate is really a result of natural geography. I just want to explain where the good places are, where it's not so good, some of the things you might not have thought about, you might want to influence where you actually settle. I'm talking about Languedoc, particularly about the Aude, because it's the area I know well. A bit about the area, a little photo show showing how pretty it is and things like that. And then about the holiday property market, we're giving you some real prices of what's on sale now. In pounds, well, pounds translated to 140 because that's what it was when I did the presentation. I think actually seeing the trend is probably what's going to be on Monday as well. Various types of property. I've included a bit at the end on rental property because quite a lot of people say actually to justify it is not necessarily in practice. If I buy this, it's nice house for me. I want to be able to justify it's being used when I'm not there. How do I work out how to do that, how much I can charge, and the rest of it. So that's just about the tail end. So just the recap. Decisions. Well, cash or mortgage. If you've got cash, that's okay. Most of the properties we sell up to about, actually most of them we sell are cash purchases because people have had an inheritance or they sold up in the UK or elsewhere. It is possible to get a French mortgage, but it's quite difficult unless you have a significant amount of assets, because the French banks can't really grab your UK assets. So just think about what the plan is, what the fallback position is. Drive or fly? Well, we're 1,000 kilometres from Calais, but it's only 30 euros on Ryanair, so if you're not doing it, you don't need to do it. Flying is a good option. You don't need to drive, you can adopt and stuff. If you do need to drive, then you probably don't need a garage. Conversely, if you decide to fly, you probably do need a garage because you want to buy a second-hand car and store it. Is it something you want to renovate for a lifetime? You want to buy it for £15,000 and spend 35 years doing it up and make it habitable? Which some do. Or do you want to just decorate it, because there is a cultural difference in the way the French decorate their homes, generally speaking, particularly wallpaper and ceilings and the wardrobes. Or do you want to just find something that's already done, maybe it's already lived in and done by an expat, move in straight away, cash down and enjoy. Is it for you, for a weekend hideaway, or complete air of relaxation, or have you got teenagers, as I did at the time, who don't really appreciate being stuck in the country, or even worse, want to be driven around by you as a taxi driver at all hours? Is it now, is it for investment, for retirement? Have you thought about the maintenance requirements? The pool is nice, but it's incredibly expensive to maintain if you're not there. Do you want to be able to walk to the restaurants, or more importantly, be able to walk back from them without having to take the car, because the gendarmes are very hot, and wobbling on a bicycle up a hill is not necessarily the best way to preserve your health. And is it just to test the water? Are you just going to buy a small townhouse to see if you really like it, maybe with a plot of land just in case, or are you going to go leap straight in and say, this is my lifestyle change? I just like you to bear these things in mind, because when you come and see us as agents, unless we know the answers to some of these things, we find it very difficult to help guide you through what's available. Anyway, that's why I'm there. That's the view from my terrace. That's why I bought the house. I'm still there. So, just going on to the climate, I'm going to give you a geography lesson. These are the conurbations in Languedoc-Roussillon. Nothing in Lozère. I'm not really sure why Lozère is in Languedoc-Roussillon. I presume nobody else wanted it. But everything else is by the coast. There are several conurbations which are by the coast. For communications, of course, because they're either on the river or on the coast. But also because of geography, because far from the coast it's all mountains. I mean, that's not a really good place to build cities. There's just a little bit I would like to point out. Between the Pyrenees and the Massif Central is this little block called the Corbière. And there's a little purple bit behind it which I'll come into later. Taking it on a global scale, this is really where the climate comes from. There's always a pressure difference between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. In the winter, it's predominantly higher pressure in the Atlantic and lower pressure in the Med, so the winds blow from west to east. In the summer, the high temperatures of the Mediterranean, the North African subcontinent, make it high pressure there, and the wind wants to go the other way, wants to go to the cooler North Seas. So that results in two well-known winds, the Mistral, which blows up the Rhône Valley, through Lyon and up to there, and the Tramontane, which blows through Carcassonne, Narbonne, Carcassonne, Toulouse. And you can see why. Basically, the Massif Central and the Pyrenees meet at a point only about 60 miles west of the Mediterranean. And it's that point which defines the difference between the climate, the Atlantic climate and the Mediterranean climate. You know, the Atlantic coast there is really no different from the west coast of Ireland or the west coast of Scotland. If the climate wants to roll in, again, my terrace, not like to be proud of it, but I've had 12 Christmases there, to give you an indication, every Christmas without fail, without shivering, shirt sleeves, on the terrace, with a glass of Languedoc. A decent glass of Languedoc, which is as good as an average bottle of champagne, an average 30 pounds bottle of champagne, is €4 a bottle. So I would just honestly say to anyone who likes that sort of thing, drink as much as you can, because the more you drink, the more you save, and you can afford a bigger property than you ever once thought. Okay, now on to the interesting bit, the property market. What I've done is I've looked at our database of stuff which is actually on sale at prices that it's been sold for, prepare for all of your seats. Here we go. The hottest regions in France. This is a map of the price per square metre. It's last year's. It hasn't changed much this year. It's probably got hotter in the hotter bits, cooler bits. But if you look in detail, where we are, Languedoc-Roussillon has the same climate as PACA, Provence, Alpes, Côte d'Azur, but the prices are somewhere between the 10th and the 5th. So if you want the climate and you want to save, this is where you want to be. The price obviously doesn't just depend on the zone, the general zone, but individual properties depend on how close they are to shops, festivals, public transport. That has some premium. If you can go, you don't need to take the car, you don't need to hire a car, you can do it on public transport. What's the price of it? External space for the barbecue, for the cocktail, for parking your car when you're not there, all the rest of it makes some difference. Location and views also. If you have a really nice uninterrupted view, you can expect to pay 25% more than if you don't. Size, style and finish, well, from the basic the French idea sometimes of renovating properties that will then actually clean the windows to something which is actually got some style and some finish, and somebody has spent some reasonable amount on it, that will obviously have an effect on the house and our desirability. Wherever it needs to be done, the usage, if it's something which is ideal for revenue making for a gîte or a holiday property, has to be at the market level, so we can't control the exchange rate. Buyer confidence, which is quite strong at the moment, so we're selling some properties 3 bids in the first week at asking price. Right, prices. Well, you can start off with that reput £18,000. If you buy it ready to move into, it's about twice as much. In my view, that's what I would go for. If it's got some outside space, it's a bit more expensive. But if you're in a village or a small town, like Limoux or Quillan, where there's something going on every day, outside space isn't necessarily that important because there's something going on every night. You're there, or your holidaymakers are there for 2 weeks, they're going to the square, they're going to the restaurant, something else. If it's winter, you don't want to sit outside anyway. So it's not worth just as specific because you can't bargain. It's got a small garden, it's more expensive. It's got a big garden, it's proportionately more expensive because that usually gives you the ability to add something on or put something in the garden or a garage. So here's a few examples. Bottom end, a barn is completely restructuring inside, has a courtyard, but the price reflects that. If you want something which doesn't have outside space but has some almost livable accommodation, depending on your personal standards, you can get that for around 18 grand. Probably want to spend 10,000 making it more habitable. On the other hand, you've got something which has been reasonably well done, very clean, ready to live in, maybe not quite to your decorative style, has a bit of a garden, 50 metres away, you can fence it and breed rabbits or something like that. Do a barbecue. This is about 5 minutes drive from Limoux, 20 minutes cycle ride. Quite nicely done, 1 bedroom, comes with a barn, and the food shrubs, which we call a jardinette in France, because it's shrubs. The barn could be converted into a summer kitchen on the top floor, a roof terrace, and a man cave underneath. So, some potential at that sort of level, but you can move into it straight away. FIA, that stands for the fees of the agency are included in this price. So we're paid, these prices, our prices are included and paid by the seller. Traditionally, going back 10 years, the French estate agents never put any pictures of their houses up. It was all a complete secret, and it was usually the people who wanted to buy the property paid their fees. This is a legal requirement of us to stay in place. Of course, we get people who don't want to pay off these on either side, but that's another story. Going up a bit, so that's one. Sorry, that's a little house in the village, 7 minutes from Limoux, with an outside courtyard, very nice, quite private, nicely done, 2 bedrooms. And for a bit more money, you can get a 4-bedroom one, smaller courtyard, still very comfortable restaurant in the village, 20 minutes walk from Limoux, probably 30 minutes stagger back if you've been to the pub. If you go up a bit, then you're starting to hot village houses, or as we used to call them in England, back-to-backs or whatever. You've got small, terribly attractive detached or semi-houses, but perfectly functional and at a price which, my daughter's just bought a house in some obscure part of South East London, which I can almost touch the walls with thumbs on stretch. So we're talking proper houses like that, not terribly attractive, may want to decorate, but that's all I've had with sunglasses. But £80,000, got to be realistic. Less than £100,000 to have a detached house with a garage with walking distance from the village every half. Not that bad. A bit more expensive, this one's got 4 bedrooms. This one is close to Quillan, which has a few more things going on than Esperanza, which was the previous one. And for not much more, under £100,000, you can buy a recently constructed villa in half an acre of land in a village with all the essential things like a hairdresser's post office, a bar, a couple of restaurants, and a grocery store, and also a winery, production facility of Languedoc-Roussillon, so you could almost have that on track. There's another pipeline way to the production facility. If you are prepared to go a little bit further out, this is probably 20 minutes drive on relatively twisty roads, but perfectly acceptable. This property here has 4 bedrooms. It needs a bit of tidying up inside. A decent garden is detached. It comes with a separate detached garage, and the building down there is also separate, which has been half converted into guest accommodation, so we make a small gîte or something. The 2 chevrons by the price are, woman says, well, she's French, Quillan, smallish garden, well, 300 square metres, I don't know what that is, probably about 3,500 square feet. Or to a detached house over an acre of garden, very well constructed, first floor living space with balcony, downstairs summer kitchen, etc. Needs tidying. It's a French house, needs tidying, not really contemporarily decorated. You probably want to change the kitchen. Well, the kitchen upstairs has been cleaned, you probably want to change the summer kitchen. But good value on that, £110,000. And then you're getting into the things that really need nothing at all doing. 175,000 with nearly half an acre, or maybe that's on my head, 3 tenths of an acre. But nicely finished. And at around 150,000 euros, you start getting into the level where you've got a swimming pool. This one's a quarter of an acre garden, 3 bedrooms, etc. So if you like, that's the starter level entry. Quite a lot of people say, yes, well, you know, that's all very well. We've seen stuff on other places and so on. We would like something traditional. We want something, which has got some style and all the rest of it. Well, the problem with things with style is they tend to be quite big, and they tend to either need a lot of money throwing around, in which case they're quite cheap, or have had a lot of money thrown at them, in which case they're quite expensive. So the price range varies quite a lot. So I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of what you can get at this moment. This, I think, is probably my favourite. It was a wine merchant's house. It is 200 square metres a floor, over 4 floors, beautiful staircase and floors. It has an internal corridor going front to back, which must be as long as a cookie pitch, stone plank. It needs at least £100,000 spending, maybe 150. But after that, it would be a fantastic property. It would easily make, when it turned into gîtes, 4 luxurious apartments and a couple of studios. This is another project. This is in a Roman spa village close to Limoux, with a historic abbey. This is facing the main square. It's all in colombage. All the structural work's being done on this. It was a restaurant. They were converting it into a small hotel. They ran out of money. And again, the chevrons me £60,000 would take it away. Leaving where it was. This one's just come on the market just last week. This has got a smallish garden as most of these big houses have. This is a genuine maison de maître, which I found out means that all 4 rooms, 2 up and 2 down, are all the same size. That's one of the criteria. It's a symmetrical house with a central stairwell. This has got a bit on the side for additional accommodation, but separate gated entrance, etc. in a village with about 10 minutes from the room, but the village itself has schools, shops, restaurants, bars, etc. This is the same style of thing. This has a built-in gîte. He's renovating with a terrace in the centre of Limoux, but right in the historic centre with a garden in the garage. Quite a find, obviously, near the centre of Limoux, more expensively built. And this is probably the gem. We haven't even got this online yet because it came in the day before we left. This was a swanky 1920s, 30s house built by an Italian tile magnate who built it to show off his words. I mean, it is really, it's been modern, it's been nicely restored. There are some bits on the lower ground floor which is not very much to live, which you could make into further accommodation. A huge terrace at first floor level, half an acre of gardens in a hidden location, and it's 5 minutes from the centre walking distance from the main square. I want to say that. Some people want to build their own stuff. Just a quick word about land. Though you'll see something called leisure land for the loisir. What does this mean? It means basically you can't do anything with it but enjoy it. You can fish on it, you can camp on it on occasions, you can't put a caravan on it. You might get a shed on it if nobody can see it. But if you've got a small house which is perfectly formed, 4-bedroom house with no outside space in the centre, 10 minutes drive away you've got an acre and a half of leisure block with river frontage where you can have your picnics, pick your mushrooms, cut down the oaks for the fire. It's probably a reasonable compromise. It's going to be a lot cheaper than having it all together. If you want to build building land, then if it's fully serviced, you start around for a quarter of an acre plot around £22,000, £15,000 if you've got to bring the services in, and more if it's got some outstanding reviews or whatever. And finally, if you want to have a house built, you can build formula houses. You can go to the constructor who has a catalogue. I want that. I want it done. I want the fees. If you want a decent kitchen, it's usually extra. If you want the terracing and the drive done, it's usually extra. So this is a bit of an overall price which is encompassing. You want a 100 square metre living space house, it's £100,000. If you want it designed and supervised by an architect, a few nice twiddly bits put on it, I don't mean marble everything or gold taps, but just your own style of house rather than something which is part of the catalogue, it's about 50% more. I'll leave you to decide. This is a leisure land. Oaks, river mushrooms, reputed to be truffles, but I've never seen a truffle run away from me, so I have no idea what one looks like. And I haven't managed to persuade my pig to go out there for a walk with me, so. Building land, this is a building plot with planning permission, and CU, as explained earlier, outline planning permission. It's about 1/6 of an acre, just over. It has nice views. It has an attached village. You don't get the village, it's just attached. And it's about 10 minutes drive from Limoux. So that sort of price. One of the things you might want to think about if you're not quite sure, this is when I go back to testing the water, is to buy a small village house in the centre that you can see whether you like the area, and if not, you can always rent it out. Have the land, because if I like it, I'm going to build the house I want later. Twice the size, half an acre, nice views, a bit more expensive. And this is for anyone who remembers in 2012, the world was going to come to an end on the 21st of December, and the only place it was going to be saved was Budarash, it's the mountain here, because it was full of spaceships, and actually it was full of hippies. I wish we had some leisure land, about 1,000 individual square metres to sell. I'd have made a fortune in selling to you. Anyway, this is a nice leisure plot, nearly an acre. People have so nice interest in investing. This is just a global thing, really. If apartments and houses have some tenancy protection, have a higher level of turnover than with shops, so generally you would expect to pay for tenanted things in good condition about 7 to 9 years annual rent. So if you're getting 20,000 a year, you'll be expecting to pay 140,000 to 180,000 for the investment. That would give you an average return of 11 to 14%. Little lower rates, return rates, higher investment rates on shops because they have to, commercial leases are more onerous on the tenants than they are on the landlords, and the tenants tend to stay longer as the business has gone bust, and it's a risk we take. I mean, this is an example of something you might want to be considering. This is currently tenanted, it gets €400 a month, so 5,000 around about a year. It's tenanted until 2017. If you buy it now, you can serve 6 months notice at the end of the lease to say you want to move into it. So you can buy it now, you're maybe not prepared, You've got it at today's price and exchange rates. You've got an income which covers the running costs of a bit more for a year and a half. And at the end of that time, it's yours. It is pure investment. I mean, this must be the bargain of the century. It's just come down from twice this price, nearly 100,000 to 47,000, 21,000 a year income. There's two of the apartments not tenanted, so you need to take that into account. The person has just has left France and gone back to the UK and just wants to go with it. Good opportunity for someone. This is in the middle of Limoux, right in the historic centre. It was a really nice, prestigious bourgeois house. Two fantastic apartments to renovate and a loft space, and there's a roof terrace. It has a shoe shop, quite an unmarked shoe shop, already let, and a renovated apartment let for between them about €1,200 a month. So you've got immediate income when you contemplate what you're going to do with rest. And one of the things, if you like, there's a big demand for apartments in the centre town for retired people if they have a lift. This has an internal atrium which would be for €30,000 you could easily install a lift. That would put 25% on the value of the apartment if you wanted to sell it. Holiday income, I'm coming to the end now, so I just said I would just talk a bit about that. When you're pricing things to rent, it's how much a bed. How much will you pay for a bed? Well, no exterior, but somewhere which is close to some facilities, €10 a night. So if it's got 2 bedrooms, it's got 4 bed spaces, it's €40 a night, €280 a week. And if you look at the year-round letting season, you take November off for refreshment, you're going to have some vacant periods, the rents are going to go up and down. The overall factor works out at around 15 times peak, that's peak summer rental, for an annual rental. For your 15 times peak weeks, you're probably renting in reality 24 weeks, so you've still got half a year to use it yourself. If it's got a courtyard, it's a bit more expensive. If it's got a maintained garden, it's a bit more expensive. If it's got a garden and pool which need to be maintained and are expensive, the pool is expensive to maintain, but these rates are real rates, so you can make 30,000 a year relatively. So there are obviously fees to come off that, taxes to pay. You can't make money without paying taxes. But it is a source of revenue if you don't have the manual skills or the qualifications to do a job in France, but you're okay at managing properties. These are a couple of things I've thrown in to show what could be available. This is in Quillan, fully renovated apartment. Not sure about the colour scheme, but that's personal. Sunglasses might be the problem. Centrally heated, double glazed throughout. At this price, they probably throw in the furniture, I can't guarantee it. 2 minutes walk from the central square and festivals. 2 bedrooms, 4 bed spaces. Do the calculations. This is another one in Quillan. This has an outside space. It has a balcony where you can sit and have cocktails. And because this one actually faces the main square and the hills, you can watch all the concerts in the summer from your balcony. There's a bar a couple of doors down. You can throw a bucket over on the road and get to serve the drinks and host the job. Well, you may even better, you just install a pipeline. A little bit further away, a village house, a village with services. This is an agricultural village, so you can attract them in wherever you want to. There's a hotel, there's a butcher's, there's a post office, all the things. It's quite close to the ski station. It's about 10 miles away. Cold in the winter, a bit of snow in the winter. Nice in the summer. Has a garden. Really very nicely renovated. The price is there. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. That would probably command about €15 a bed place a night. Close to Limoux in a village which is a very nice village. Has a very nice restaurant. 20 minutes walk to Limoux or probably 30 minutes walk back, but possible. As you know, taxis don't work office hours in France, so you really need to plug that into your equations. This is a house which has 4 bedrooms and all the rest of it, has a small courtyard, but it also has a vignerons cave. That's a fermentation station which could be converted into additional juice relatively easily, has this foyer, etc. And at the other end of the market, this one really does make 32,000 a year. It has a swimming pool, it sleeps 12, it has a little outbuilding which can be converted into a studio. I mean, you wouldn't probably want to put any more accommodation there, but somewhere where you could hold art classes or whatever, to make additional income, to push the annual income. So that's, if you like, the range of properties. That's a bit about the region. I hope it's been helpful. I forgot it. All the prices I've given you here are on a little handout which is available in all the 3 stands at the back there. If you think that would be helpful, please go and do it. If you would like to talk to us even more, that's fine. Please go. If not, thank you very much for listening. You have a time for question. If you know somebody who wants to let it on Viagère and you're certain they're going to fall downstairs, that's probably a good idea. Viagère, for people that don't know it, is there's a system under the French government where somebody who is at a certain age, you can buy their property at a reduced price. So let's say the property is worth 200,000. You may pay, depending on their age, 60,000 now, and you pay them what's called a rent. You pay them every month, say, 500 euros. I don't know how I've done this on this, until they die, 20.
You're going to lose out.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble. I wouldn't do it.
Young person's game.
Oh, yes, right. I mean, if you're 20 and you want to, you get a good deal, and you're not bothered about living there, that's okay. But if somebody lives for 40 years and you're paying them 500 euros a month, no.
Okay, thanks very much, Alan.